Welcome to the Coach Bryan Moore Show. I'm your host, Margaret Ann Praytor. This is going to be a weekly broadcast going over last week's game. Looking forward to this coming week's game. You'll air on YouTube, so subscribe to our channel there, the Hartselle Tiger channel on YouTube, and you'll be able to see it there. It's also going to be on Facebook, also on the NFHS network. Also, please tune in every Friday night on the NFHS network. And also, if you're wanting audio only, go to hartsellefootball.com and you can listen to radio there. But before we begin, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors, Eddie Pruitt Ford, Bentley's, Life Church, and Corum's Building and Farm Center. Okay, Coach Moore, sorry about that. Had to get all that out of the way. First win as head coach of the Hartselle Tigers. How's that feel?
It was good. Feels great. It was a much better performance, obviously, against a pretty good team. And I thought we controlled most of the game, and it is exciting to get that one out of the way, so to speak, and sort of now settle in and just play football and just prepare each week. So that was a hump to get over, and glad we're there.
Hey, I was excited too. I watched from home. It was a dominating win, 34-14 over, like you said, a very athletic Mae Jemison team. But instead of starting at the beginning, I'm going to skip to the drive right before halftime. That to me, it made such a big impact. And you talk about character. What did that do for your team's character and reinforcing that?
Well, it was about game management. There's a lot that goes into that. First off, we had punted and Crawford pinned them inside the 10. So it started with a great punt, and there were 57 seconds, something like that on the clock, and I had all 3 timeouts. And again, that's because we don't have to waste them, because we're getting plays in, and because we don't have to use them on defense because we got 11 on the field, and that's part of it. When we punted, I told Coach Newton, I said, look, if we can get a stop, and I walked down to the official and said, if we get a stop, we're going to call timeouts. And so we used all 3. I think they burned like 12 seconds off the clock in those 3 plays. We got the ball back. We ran a little wheel route, which puts us on the sideline to Rye. He caught it and probably needs to get out of bounds. But we had to clock the ball, which is something else we needed to do. And then the next play was a little RPO that we run that we couldn't hand off. We tried to sneak Mizell Bull into the flats, and they covered it. And Parker ran and scored. And I talked to him, and he knows this. I mean, he started 12 games last year, and this is the 2nd game this year. So he knows if he can get it, he's got to go get it. But if he doesn't get it, we don't get another snap. And so that would have been a teaching moment. With a kicker like ours, we're going to get the 3 and still push it out to 17. But if he gets tackled in bounds, we probably don't get it off because we used all our timeouts, and I think there were 9 seconds on the clock. So with that all being said, I thought, as far as how we managed the game, it's the first time we've had a scenario like that where we've been, had to push a 2-minute drive. And I was pleased to see us execute that.
It was fun to watch. Took momentum into halftime, so got the 3 touchdown lead, so that was great. I want to talk next about the guys that don't get much credit, the offensive line, how their play improved from week 1 to week 2.
Well, I mean, first off, there are 4 new starters. When we played against Austin, the speed of the game. I mean, it's one thing about, and we're really good on the defensive line here at Hartselle, so we compete with a very good group of defensive linemen, but it's something about being in a game that's new and the bullets are flying and things just happen so quickly, and there's a crowd and there's a band and just a lot of things that go into it with communication and things that probably your normal fan probably doesn't know, all the calls and things that are taking place at the line of scrimmage. And, I think that our guys got better from week 1 to 2. They were more physical. We obviously ran the ball better. We ran for over 100 yards. In the first game, we ran for 25.
That's my next question.
So that was, that was crucial. And we wanted to establish a run game. You saw probably 4 or 5 plays in a row where same play, back to back to back, and we're just banging it in there because we need that. We need to be physical. We need to be dominant up front. So now they've played, and we told them after the Austin game, there's no more excuses. You've played in a game, and they really responded to that. Another point that people miss, unless it goes bad, is the snap issue. If Tide's done a really good job with the snaps, and so been pleased with that. And there's something about hitting the quarterback in the chest every time and how that times up. And another thing is we hadn't had mesh issues, as far as handoffs and and pulls, and Parker doing all the things he does off run pass option things. And so I've been pleased with them. They're going to get better. And this week there's a possibility we get Mac Harden back as our left tackle. He's had an ankle deal, and so He's close to being back. He's about 90%. And so, we won't play him unless we feel real good about it. But he's a guy that started a lot of football games last year.
He's an option.
And a senior that it means something to. So he would be a huge shot in the arm for us. So, again, those guys are going to get better and better. They've got a tremendous challenge this week with Coleman. They're really good in there, and most of those guys are 2-3 year starters. So we'll have our work cut out for us. A lot of moving parts, a lot of changing fronts. But again, I've been really pleased. Coach Praytor and Coach Gladden have had their hands full, and have done a really good job. And the other position I wanted to mention was our fullbacks and tight ends. Caleb Simmons and Xander Waddell and Floyd McNutt, and those guys have really done a good job of growing up. Our fullback has as much probably as our quarterback, as far as that he needs to know, because he's sort of a lineman and a skill player. He's going to run out and go for passes. He's going to block. He's going to protect, and he may catch a screen here or there. But ultimately, he's got a lot on his plate. He moves. He's our move piece. So we flip and flop that guy around and move him, and he's had to handle a lot, and we saw a lot of improvement this week. So, again, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the fact that we were able to run the ball and able to maintain possession, keep our defense off the field. We were able to take care of the ball. So, again, I expect another step forward this week.
Right. That was my next question, was you had 125 yards rushing.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, you're aiming for 150.
Yep.
And nevertheless, it was such a marked improvement over last week. It seemed like they found some gaps that weren't there, and that's why I had alluded to the offensive line. Do you want to comment a little bit about?
And on top of that too is, this whole thing, how we teach Mookie and Rye and Sage Smothers and those guys that play running back. Those guys are part of that too, as far as hitting the hole the right way. And there's a lot of reads and things that are taking place, not just like get the ball and run down the middle of the field. It's not like that. It's rollbacks and front side and back side of zone and pull schemes and things that we do. It's pretty high level, and we're just learning. And so we saw Mookie, really the play of the game for him was we ran inside zone on the last touchdown to make it 34-0. And we had kind of a leak, a run through, and he bent it backside and walks in the end zone. Well, last week he'd have run right into that dude and been tackled. And so, or run over him or whatever would happen. But that was marked improvement. And then Rye, every time he touches, it's a big play, and so we got to continue to go to him. So, and Parker ran the ball well. I mean, he scrambled. It was 4th and 6 on the first drive. He scrambles for first down. Scored the touchdown, scored 2 rushing touchdowns. So he gives us another element. And when JT Blackwood's back and everything, I feel more comfortable, and I feel comfortable with Jack Smith too, but running Parker because, he's going to take some hits. And so, but we have a great, 1A, 1B quarterback, I feel like. And so, we can run Parker and take risk with him, but he's a big addition to that run game as well.
That's great. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Coach Bryan Moore Show on the Hartselle Tiger Channel.
Hey, welcome to Billy's.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
All right, and now for our Eddie Pruitt Forward Player of the Week, we have quarterback Parker Sawyer. Parker, congratulations. Great performance Friday night. I got 2 or 3 quick questions to ask you, and then we'll let you get back to class. New school, new everything this senior year. How's that going?
It's going great. It's been a great year so far. I love the school, love the team. It's like a family up here, and I love the atmosphere of the games. I love it up here.
That's awesome. All right, leadership. And I'm going to talk to Coach about your performance in Friday's game, but it's super important for a quarterback to show good leadership. What traits do you look for in a good leader?
Just one who always stands up, leads the team, and you gotta be able to talk and
do interviews. All right. I know I was always I played volleyball and I cheered, but volleyball was my sport. So I loved the competition. I loved the game. Wasn't crazy about practice. But I'm going to ask you about practice. So what's your favorite part of practice?
Favorite part of practice, probably either when we do team and do live or when we do one-on-ones with the receivers on the DBs.
Okay, and
So-
you get to pass.
and I get
You
to
have to
just-
tell grandma at home who doesn't know what team is.
I get teams just when we have the whole team, and it's basically one-on-ones, and we go live against each other for so many plays.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, I wish you the best of luck academically and athletically. Hope you guys get a big win Friday night. Thanks for coming in, and congratulations on being the Eddie Pruitt Ford Player of the Week. And we're back with the Coach Bryan Moore Show. Coach, to this, and I'm a spectator. I know I'm a spectator. The receiving corps showed some of their youth this week. With such a big game coming up, how do you plan on helping them mature at such an accelerated rate? They're having to grow up super
It's
fast.
just reps. I mean, it's game reps. You know, we've got, Isaiah's probably, our primary receiver, but he's the 10th grader,
Right.
and Bull's a 10th grader, and Trent Wright's the one that has really come along. We saw a couple throws in the middle of the field to him from last week, but yeah, and more than that is the other piece is blocking, out there.
Okay.
Trent's doing a really good job there, and they're all coming along. Again, obviously I wish I could accelerate that, but it's a rep count thing. Now last week, let me say this too, we were inside so much, because of the rain. We had tons of rain last week. So matter of fact, on Tuesday and Wednesday, we were in the indoor, which is, we're blessed to have it, but it's 25 yards. So you can't really throw the ball around the way that you want. So I thought really and truly for that type of impact from the week, we were sharper than we were against Austin. Isaiah was better. He and I were walking to the field together, and I just put my arm around him. I said, I know that you feel the pressure of being the number one guy, but dude, you're a 10th grader, and this is a high school football game. Let's don't let it get too big, where he's stressing and pressing, and we saw him against Austin drop a ball that he drops very few balls.
Exactly.
Right, and so, I think he was loose, and I hope he will be again this Friday. But those guys are growing. Again, Eli Tidwell could be back, who would again be a shot in the arm for us. He's had a little small bone in his hand and hadn't been able to play, and he was probably going to start. And so we're seeing guys come back, and if we can get healthy now, that'll be big.
That would be great. Our Eddie Pruitt Ford Player of the Week is Parker Sawyer. Where I saw a big difference between week 1 and 2 was that leadership and that confidence. It just seemed, you and I talked before we started airing the show, that he just wanted to just take that team, put it on his back, and carry them to victory. And that was great to see. And I know that you've worked with him before, so you know what he's capable of. Can you comment on that?
He's a quiet competitor. I mean, he's a man of very few words. It's funny because of the interview stuff, but he just is, which is hard for a quarterback, but he says enough. And the guys respond to him, and he's an example guy. I mean, when he pulls the ball down on 4th and 6 and gets knocked over there into the fence, and we don't get a call anyway, but when he gets knocked over there in the fence, and pops right up, and there he goes back out, and then 3 plays later, he runs for a touchdown and dives over the top of a guy. I mean, they respond to that, and they know that dude is tough, and that's one of the marked traits of a quarterback that people miss. A lot of guys go out there and throw that thing around and look real pretty and all that kind of stuff, have the towel hanging, but those dudes got to stand in that pocket as they're getting blitzed by guys that look like Kelvin, and deliver that football. And
something I would want to do.
I mean, and you're standing there, you're the victim right now, and so if you can't stand in there and deliver the football in the face of pressure, then the guys won't respond to you. And he can do that. He can take off running, and again, he gets up under that tent, and he doesn't rah-rah and yell and scream, but he says just enough. And so I've seen his maturity jump leaps and bounds really this year compared to last year. He has grown into a different person. He's about 25 pounds heavier and just more physically, imposing now, where he can run the ball in traffic, and he has made real strides being better, but his leadership is significantly better than it was a year ago.
It was great to see. I love those moments. Those are my football movie moments. But let's talk about the defense. I'm just going to speak from my first impression. That first drive, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, me too.
But then quick adjustments, and holy cow, they turned things around.
When you play option teams like Mae Jemison, and our coaches and scout teams and second group of kids do a great job of trying to give a look. But there's no speed of the game like that. When you get out there, that thing's happening, and it's going to happen fast against Coleman. But it's hard to simulate that in practice. And so really for those first 3 plays, it was like, whoa, this thing's happening faster. We missed 2 big tackles. Isaac was out a little bit last week and didn't practice a whole lot. And he missed a couple early, but then he was clean for the rest of the game. And so you started to see them really slow down, and guys started to dominate up front. And so I was pleased with the adjustment. Coach Newton and his staff, we got a great defensive staff, great. And those guys did a great job. There was a couple little wrinkles, and they fixed it. And
it was just
like
they shut a door.
That was it. That was the end of that.
That's what I've got next. They held Mae Jemison to under 300 yards of total offense. Yep. They caused 3 turnovers. They had an interception and 2 fumble recoveries. Yep. And again, Osteen, you're talking about him, 14 tackles.
Yeah, and that's the way he should be. I mean, he's our guy in there, and everything schematically we do sets up to let Isaac run and tackle, and he does that very well. And he's typically, like I said, typically a sure tackler. Missed a couple early, but then everything else was fine. So, again, I've been really pleased with that group.
I'm going to go off script. I've got a question I want to ask you. Do they script? Do you guys script the first series?
We do. We script the first 5 plays of the first 3 drives. So basically.
So I was just wondering if Mae Jemison probably did that as well.
Typically it's wrinkles. It's things that you haven't seen on film, and we're trying to get kind of a way that they're playing a formation. I've got great box eyes upstairs. I've got Will Lang and Chad Gladden offensively, and then Moose Cole's up there who does a great job and been up there for a while. So we've got guys up there that we feel real good about, that know what they're looking for, and that's a huge part of it. So there was a couple of things that they did but you got to fix it. You got to find it quickly.
Well, I didn't know if the people home knew it, because being around football forever, I knew that a lot of times they're going to script things that they know are going to go get you, that they should have success.
Right.
If they hadn't had success those first 3 plays, then as an offensive coordinator, I'd been upset.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what you get ready to do. But I just thought I'd ask about that. Lots of reserves got to see the field.
Yep.
That's another positive.
Tried to get all of them in, if we could. And, you don't want them to score right there the last 2 possessions, but I said, y'all, it's bigger than that right now. I don't care if it's, 34-0 or 34-14, or whatever we score again offensively. Let's get those kids in the game. So last week, think about this. We're in a tremendous developmental time in our program.
Right.
We've got so many young kids that we're trying to mold, and we played 2 games last Monday against Austin. Both were very competitive, 9th and JV. And then we played again Thursday, and those guys got to play in both those games. So you're talking the reps just continue to build and stack up, and that's how you develop a program. And I was really pleased, because there's something about running out there on varsity night that's different. Jack Smith had a whole drive, and he looked really good doing it. And so I was really pleased with that, and the way that we competed with their varsity group.
Right. I was proud of him too. I was excited. I know Jack was in my sports marketing class. He was excited to talk about his game experience. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. You're listening to Margaret Ann Praytor here on the Hartselle Tiger channel. Okay, coming up next, a word from our sponsors, the fabulous Emily Boster and her segment, What's Happening at Hartselle High School?
Hey Hartselle, I'm Emily Boster, and this is What's Happening at Hartselle High School. I started my first day here 1,116 days ago. Since then, I've made so many memories, written tons of articles for the Tiger Times, attended so many events, games, and meetings, and had the best time with the best people. Needless to say, it's been a little bit since I started freshman year. I decided to talk with the current freshman class, the class of 2024, about all the changes they've already experienced and all the exciting things to come. So it's August 26th, it's game day. We have our sign up, welcome to the jungle, and we have all the senior football signs up there. So today's game day, but I'm going to be interviewing the freshmen on the differences between the junior high and the high school.
Definitely a lot more freedom here.
We have way more freedom.
More freedom. More freedom.
And the rest of the class definitely agrees with him. I sent out a poll to the entire class. Here are their responses. Their overwhelmingly favorite new thing about the high school compared to the junior high is freedom. Their favorite class is science, and their favorite teacher is Miss Hall. Today is August 30th, and I am doing an interview with Allie Maples, who just started her freshman year at Hartselle High School.
So I guess first, just tell me about the first day of school. How was it? Was it what you expected? Did freshman camp help at all? Any of that stuff?
So the first day of school, well, let me start here. Okay, freshman camp, it really helped a lot because the day I went to freshman camp, like, I was so overwhelmed. I kind of had anxiety about it because I was like, I'm going to a new school and it's like huge and it has 4 grades instead of just 2 grades that I'm used to. But yeah, I would say freshman camp definitely helped.
And so in these first few weeks, have there been anything that you've necessarily learned, like maybe about yourself, about school, or about friendships? I don't know. There's so many things that I learned my freshman year.
And there's definitely more responsibility.
Yes.
I know, like, in some of my classes, like, my teachers will say, like, we have a test, like, once, and then they won't bring it up until, like, the day before. And, like, I've had a few tests slip up on me.
Yeah. It's very much like it's on you to get this
done.
So far, what has been your favorite thing about high school?
So I would say the freedom. And, like, I'm actually to a point where I don't have to say that I completely hate school.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really completely hate school anymore, you know? Like, It's not too bad.
So what are you looking forward to this year?
Maybe, like, all the new friendships, like, I guess you can make in high school.
Rushing and all of that, do you think it's made this, like, transition easier? Have you made more friends? Have you been at more activities, like that type of stuff?
Yeah, I feel like it has made me have more friends, like, because I'm good friends with some, like, upperclassmen and everything, and I'll just, like, talk to them. But, yeah, I feel like it's definitely helped with that, and then just, like, getting to know, like, a lot more people that I, like, probably would never have talked to before.
Right.
I think that a lot.
We're welcoming the new freshman class, and that's what's happening at Hartselle High School.
Okay, and we're back here with Coach Bryan Moore. Coach, looking at next Friday, we've got Coleman. You know, it's a home contest. Around here, we don't like them very much. They're 2-0. They've shut out Grissom and Jasper.
Yep.
And I caught a little bit of them Saturday morning. I know you guys were watching.
Yep.
And those kids look like they've eaten their Wheaties. So what can you tell us about them?
Well, you know, we're probably closer to that program than most in that Coach Glasscock is a friend to us and was at Hartselle for 5 years. And so there's a lot of sort of relationships there. And he's done a great job with Coleman. I mean, they look totally different than they did a year ago. It's obvious that they have worked out, trained, and he's gotten some kids out that weren't out before. And so he's done a really good job with them. They're a really good team. And we're going to have to play extremely well to win. We can win, but we're going to have to play really, really well. I'm not so sure defensively that they're not as good as Austin. And so we'll see, you know, our strides. And then what they do offensively, running triple and option football is so unique and different than what we see on a normal basis, especially considering they have a Division I fullback and a 3-year starter at quarterback. It just is one of those deals where, you know, again, we're going to have to play well. We're going to have to match their effort level. I mean, those kids play extremely hard, and most of them have been there. You know, those guys, there's 24, 25 seniors Coleman has this year. This is their year. And, you know, again, for us to win, we're fortunate it's at home.
Yes.
And for us to win, again, we'll have to match that level of effort because they play so doggone hard. And we'll have to match their toughness. And we'll have to play a lot better offensively than we did against Austin. So, you know, I'm excited. I mean, this is what you sign up for.
Oh, yeah.
You sign up for games, rivalry games, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm excited, and it'll be a good old-fashioned rivalry football game.
Well, and one of the stats, they have not had a point scored against them.
Right.
I mean, that would be high. You know, that would be number one on my little board.
It's one of those deals. I mean, and they've earned it. You know what I mean? Like, they don't give up any big plays. Schematically, they're very sound.
All right, Coleman's offense doesn't have a lot of razzle-dazzle, but based on their first 2 opponents, they didn't need to because their defense hasn't allowed a single point.
Yeah, and they've earned it. I mean, they deserved those shutouts. They've given up no big plays. You know, they run guys through, and I mentioned earlier, change fronts and are very multiple defensively and have a high-level scheme, front end and back end. So we've spent a lot of time, you know, working on, you know, just getting guys covered up and how do we block these moving pieces because they're never still. They look like our defense. They're going to blitz and move and shift, and those are the ones you never know what you're shooting at, you know.
Right.
And so it's hard as a play caller to sort of match that because you can guess wrong some. And so again, we've got to do a good job of handling all the moving pieces up front. Obviously we'll have to play really well. I mean, I do. I think they're as good as Austin defensively, and I think, I think that they are, if not the best, one of the best teams that we're going to play this year. And they've done a really good job, and Oscar has really got them going.
Well, offensively, they weren't committing any errors. No. I mean, it was error-free. That offense, one thing I noticed, it reminded me of when Luke Godsey was our quarterback and had all that experience. It was just so seamless, whatever he was doing. So that's going to be hard to prepare for defensively.
Well, yeah, because, it's going to be 4 or 5 yards,
Yeah, just right down your throat.
And driving the football and limiting your possessions. And,
right.
They want to keep the game moving, keep the clock moving, and they just do a good job of what they do, and they don't beat themselves.
Well, and you've talked about some people coming back from injury. Will we finally be 100% this week?
You just never know this day and age what you got. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I think we're going to be, we had 16 kids out Thursday night. So, I mean, hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully we got more coming back, and we have an opportunity to. We're going to have them. I mean, plain and simple. We're going to have to be all hands on deck to have a chance in this game. And but again, I do know this. All of our kids, coaches, I mean, everybody, I think, doing everything they can to give us a chance Friday. We need our crowd there. We do. We need people there supporting our kids and into the game because it is. I think it's going to be a great football game.
All right, we're going to pause just a minute. We'll come back with our Eddie Pruitt Ford fan question of the week, and we'll conclude our Coach Bryan Moore Show.
Hey, football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartselle football underway. 2020 season expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartselle, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!
We're back now for our Eddie Pruitt Ford question of the week. That was a fan-submitted question of the week. You played on Thursday. Coleman played on Saturday. Do you think that gave us an advantage?
I mean, obviously they'll handle it really well. I mean, Coach Glasscock will have them, prepared. But there's no doubt about it. I mean, basically what we did was we brought all the kids in on Friday morning and did yoga and the stuff that we do in stretch and, ice bath, and basically tried to get our bodies back. We jogged and tried to push the lactic acid out of, we tried to really get ourselves back going. We watched film, put a bow on Thursday's game, and then Sunday we came in and it was all Coleman. We lifted heavy, and, so there's no doubt. I mean, we're a day ahead at least, maybe 2. And so that was huge. And the rest, I mean, the fact that Friday afternoon, all day Saturday, they were able to rest and get their bodies back after a pretty physical game Thursday. So I think that helped. Is it enough? I hope. But I think for them, I know Oscar didn't want to play that game on Saturday. I know that when that weather came in, and it was hot.
Oh, it was hot, yes.
And smoking hot on that turf. And so, again, I think that's got to be an advantage. If some kind, again, is it enough? I don't know.
We'll take what we can get, right?
Yeah, whatever we can get. But I think the decision to move the game to Thursday was the right one. And, we had a better crowd than we would have had Friday. And thank goodness we got it in.
Well, thanks, Coach Moore. Another great week of questions and answers here. I'm Margaret Ann Praytor. On behalf of Coach Bryan Moore, we're going to see you next week. Look for us on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night on YouTube on the Hartselle Tiger channel. Thanks for watching.
Hey, football fans, we are so excited to have another year of Hartselle football underway. 2020 season expecting a great year, and we're so excited about Coach Bryan Moore and his family being here. Coach Moore's a great coach, and he's going to lead us to great things right here in Hartselle, but not only this year, but for years to come. Go Tigers!